This evening our Katha comes from the Ramcharitamanas, and our Katha stems from a question that we've been asked in the puja earlier today. And so, Mummy gave a little list, and on the list she said to me, don't call you Julia, but call you Sangeeta. I prefer to call you what I could remember. And anytime I don't remember, then I'll call you Sangeeta. Julia asked a beautiful question this morning in the puja, and so she asked about Lord Hanuman, and she asked about why Lord Hanuman has 5 heads. And so this evening, the Ramayana tells us that Hanuman's name has already echoed through this entire place called Lanka. And every single being who lives there in Lanka knows Hanumanji because of a deed he has performed. Everybody in Lanka knows about Lord Hanuman because Lord Hanuman is the monkey or the kapi who has burnt the entire place down. And he is being remembered for the action of burning Lanka, setting Lanka ablaze. This evening, if we were to be remembered, what action or what deed or what part of our character will we be remembered for? We do a million good things, but the minute you do one wrong thing, you're remembered only for that wrong thing and not the good thing you would have done. We live in a time and an age and a society where we live among the judges and the jury and the executors. Nobody takes the time to listen. We pronounce our own judgment. We pronounce our own execution. We decide for ourselves without even questioning for a moment. Lord Hanuman, his name has been sung through this entire place called Lanka. And why? He's being remembered for the fire that he lit. This evening, can we remember how much times we set fire? Can we remember how much times we set ablaze fire? And when I say fire, I'm not saying physical fire. I'm saying the fire of words that would have caused damage and hurt. I'm saying the fire of actions that would have performed, that will not help somebody, but that will crush somebody. Lord Hanuman is being remembered. And why is he being remembered? Lanka knows Lord Hanuman for the fire that he has lit. This evening, the battle has started between the army of Ravan and the army of Sri Ram. Sri Ram begins to send his very powerful warriors to fight. And so to Ravan, he begins to send his very powerful warriors to fight against the warriors of Ram. So to you and I, we must have a strong defense when we stand. We must be able to defend ourselves. So regardless of what life throws out to us, we are ready and we are waiting to fight. This evening, the battle is taking place between Sri Ram and Ravan. They are not fighting, but their army is fighting, sending their very best. Ravan sits on a chariot. Sri Ram sits on a chariot. Sri Ram and Lakshmana, they sit together on this chariot. And above the chariot of Sri Ram, Lord Hanuman is sitting there. But Hanumanji, for one moment, he turns away. For one moment, he forgets his duty. And turning away, forgetting his duty, what will happen? The Katha begins to tell us. Hanumanji sits on the chariot of Sri Ram. And for one moment, Hanumanji turns away. For one moment, he loses his balance. And he turns away to look at something else. And in that split second, when Hanumanji turns back, he encounters a problem. The Ram and the Lakshman, whom he was guarding, they had disappeared from the chariot. In the blink of an eye, as he turned just for one moment, Sri Ram and Lakshman, they disappeared. Hanumanji becomes furious. Life becomes smooth sailing when we learn how to do something. In 2018, the young people, they're very techno, and now we have started to abbreviate words by using short terms. Life will be smooth sailing if we could use that little 3-letter word. 4-letter, sorry. MYOB. You know what it means? MYOB. Do you know what it means? Hanumanji losing his balance and thinking about something else for one moment. Sri Ram and Lakshmana, they disappear. And so Hanumanji becomes furious. Ram, 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 he begins to call. But calling, no reply will come. Sri Ram and Lakshman, he wonders where have they gone to? Where could they go in the blink of an eye? Hanumanji begins to look everywhere. And looking everywhere and screaming and calling out the name of Ram, no reply will come. Tonight, if you have to find God, where will you look? I've asked that questions many times before. Tonight, if you have to find God, where will you look? Where will you look? In your heart? When we are having the puja and we're going to invite God, we clean down the whole house, inside out. True or not? Because we want to invite God into a clean place. How clean is your heart? How clean is your heart? Do you think that God will want to go in your heart? Baba, that's my brother, but you don't know. I will never talk to him for the rest of my life. Baba, that's my neighbor, but you don't know. I'll never talk to her again. Will God live in the heart of a person who thinks like that? Will God live in the heart of a person who behaves like that? If you want to find God genuinely, then Scripture has declared, make a murti of the person you hate the most and put it up on your altar and do the arti and the puja for that person. And only when you could see God in that person, then you could really see God. Then you'll really find God. Hanumanji looking everywhere. Hanumanji is looking for Ram. Tonight, if you have to look for Ram, where will you look? In your heart? Do you think he's there? Do you think he's really in your heart? Look at the person in front of you. Are you seeing God in that person? Look at the person at the side of you. Are you seeing God in that person? Oh God. Looking everywhere. Hanumanji is looking for Shri Ram. He's looking for Lakshmana. And then suddenly a voice from the Akash, from the heavens, speaks. And as the voice begins to speak, listen to what the voice says. Sunu kapide kara de Hanumanta Devi Sureshwari Bira Balavantao Hum jo katha kaha kapi nara hoi Banar rupa hari sur koi Jai Rama Shri Rama Jai Jai Rama Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama. A voice from the heavens spoke, and it was the voice of a female, of a woman. And the voice introduced itself to Hanumanji, and the voice says, May, I am Kali Devi. What if you want to hear the voice of Kali Devi? What will you do? Yesterday in the puja, I said that Durga Devi, Lakshmi Devi, Saraswati Devi, they can be found in one person on the earth, your mother. And Julia looked at me and she said, what about Kali? And I said, have you ever seen your mother angry before? Have you ever seen your mother vex? And she said, yes, all the time. I said, well, that is the Kali in her. Becoming mad, becoming angry. Because it's the mother you go to and say, Ma, how to do this? And she becomes Saraswati. It's the mother you go to and say, Ma, lend me at 20, and she becomes the Lakshmi. It's the mother you go to and you say, Ma, I'm sick, and she becomes the doctor. And it's the same mother you'll get angry, and the same mother, I said to Julia, that will tell father, beat them. And when he starts to beat, she says, yo, kill my children, stop. She said, quarrel. And when father started to quarrel, mother say, all right, hush your mouth now, you're making noise. Because a mother's heart is designed like this. Kali Devi spoke from the heavens and she says, Suno, Suno Hanuman. Listen, O Hanuman, you are looking for Ram and you are looking for Lakshmana, but you will not find them. You are looking in the wrong place. Sometimes you and I, we go searching in the wrong place. And maybe we are searching for the right thing, but in the wrong place. Maybe we are looking for the right thing, but we are searching in the wrong place. And so the voice says, you are looking, but you are looking in the wrong place, O Hanuman. And Hanumanji looking in amusement, amazed, hearing the voice of Kali Devi. Hanumanji says, then where should I look, O Mata? Tell me, where should I look? And she says, she begins to tell the Katha. She begins to tell Hanumanji She says, Shri Ram and Lakshman, they were taken by the sons of Ravan, Ahiravan and Mahiravan. The sons of Ravana, Ahiravan and Mahiravan, they have kidnapped Shri Ram and Lakshmana. They have abducted Shri Ram and Lakshmana, and they have taken them to Patal, beneath the earth. Hanuman, you are searching in the wrong place. You have to go to Patalu, beneath the earth. And Hanumanji, hearing this, Jai Shri Ram, with no hesitation, Hanumanji goes beneath the surface of the earth. And going there, what will he meet? Hanumanji goes quickly to Patalu, beneath the surface of the earth. And Hanumanji stands at the dwar, the entrance of Ahiravan and Mahiravan. And Hanumanji is greeted by a security guard. And the security guard addresses Hanuman as Pita. Pita means what? Pita. Pita means... Have you ever addressed a person who is not your father as father? Have you ever considered a person who is not your mother to be a mother? Hanumanji, he's stunned by the way he's addressed. And so the being standing there addresses Lord Hanuman as Pita, father. Hanumanji looks at him and Hanuman says, I have no children. Then why are you calling me Pita? I'm not your father. I'm not your father. Why are you addressing me as Pita? And the being says, well, my mother said to me that you are my father. And so I've been going by that philosophy that you are my father. He introduces himself and Hanumanji says, what is your name? And he says, my name is Makar Dwaj. Then who is your mother? And Makar Dwaj begins to tell. He says, while you were flying over the ocean, some of your potent sweat fell onto the back of a crocodile. And so she gave birth to me. And so you are my father, O Lord Hanuman. Hanumanji started to laugh hearing the kahani. And Hanumanji, he had no reaction. He lifted his hand and he said, today I bless you with health and strength and fortitude and long life. Now move away. I need to go and find my Ram and my Lakshmana. And Makar Dwaj, looking at Hanuman, Makar Dwaj says, not so easy. You are my father, but I have a duty to perform. And I am the security guard. And the instruction that was given is do not allow anybody to come. Lord Hanuman says, I am your father. And so you ought to listen to me. And Makar Dwaj says, I cannot listen to you. My duty is to protect the master that I work for. And Hanumanji, becoming angry, hearing the words of Makar Dwaj, Binu sata sangabi bekana hoi Rama kripa binu sudabana soi. Hanumanji makes one fist and he gives Makar Dwaj one satsang, one blow. And Makar Dwaj falls to the ground unconscious. If we do not go to the Ramayana and we do not go to the Yajna and we do not hear something that hits us like a blow to wake us up from the sleep that we're in, then we didn't go to Satsang. Then we didn't go to Yajna. Then we didn't go to Ramayana. And so Makar Dwaj falling unconscious on the ground, what will happen? Hanumanji gives one blow to Makar Dwaj and Makar Dwaj falls to the ground. The Makar Dwaj whom he has just blessed, the Makar Dwaj whom he has just asked or bestowed upon on long life and happiness and health, he gives him one blow. Have you ever received a blow from your mother or your father? Can you remember? I always say, and it sounds like a joke, that I think I taste a little bit of everything the house had. The mop, the broom, the pot spoon, the dabla. I don't think I ever had the belna before. But I think I got a little bit of everything. At that time, as children, we could never understand why. But now we say thank you. We say it is because of that we are what we are. It is because of that experience we have been molded into what we are. Now we live in a society and a time and an age where you don't know who is the parent and who is the child. Long ago, mother said to the child, sit down and shut up. Now the child look at the mother. You talk and you will see what happened to you. Parents are like slaves in their own house, in their own homes. They live their whole lives building and toiling and preparing and fixing so that everybody will be happy. And then they become prisoners. Your daughter-in-law tells you when you could go in the kitchen. She tells you when you could use the washing machine. You have to make an appointment to watch your TV that you buy with your pension. And you have to tiptoe and walk so that nobody will hear you when you're walking in your own house. And if there are any daughter-in-laws like that, look out, because what goes around, and no matter how your mother-in-law is, learn to accept that that is how she is. And whenever you meet her, even if you have to pretend, kuchi kuchi ku, love her anyway. Because without her, you'll never have a husband. Without her, you'll never have a husband. So even if you have to pretend, go and give her a kiss every time you see her. Buy her a gift every time you're going by her. But show her love. And once you give love, you will get love in return. Hanumanji gives one blow to his son. And his son falls to the ground, Makar Dwaj. And as Makar Dwaj falls to the ground, Jai Shri Ram, Hanumanji wastes no time. Wasting no time, he rushes and he enters into the kingdom of Ahiravan and Mahiravan. What will happen? Listen, it tells us. Ahiravan and Mahiravan comes. They wonder how come Hanuman has entered. Where is Makar Dwaj? You ever had a security guard and you have to wake him up? You ever see the security guard sleeping? So, Ahiravan and Mahiravan, they come. And as Ahiravan and Mahiravan come, they stand. And standing against Hanumanji, they begin to fight. They begin to fight. Hanumanji, Ahiravan and Mahiravan stands in front of him, questioning about the security guard. Hanumanji says, don't worry, I took care of him, and now I will take care of you. Somebody ever tell you they will look after you, don't worry? And when you depend on them, they treat you real bad? You ever had the privilege of acquainting people and they say, come by me now and spend 2 days, and when you go, they treat you real bad? You can't wait to go back home? Some children, one mother and one father will raise 10 children, and 10 children can't look after one mother and one father. They drop them house to house. After 2 days, look your mother, look your father, as though they are little children. Ahiravan and Mahiravan waste no time. They begin to fight against Lord Hanuman. And Hanuman, who is Bal Buddhi Vidya, the storehouse of strength and fortitude, Hanumanji encounters a problem. He cannot destroy them. He is fighting and fighting and fighting. And for the first time, he feels as though he is losing. Fighting against them, he can't win. And Hanumanji wonders, what type of jadoo, what type of magic is this? Have you ever tried to do something that you know you could do and you can't do it? There is a time in our life when we might be able to button our own buttons on our shirt. There's a time in our life when we might be able to brush our own teeth or help our own selves to walk or to bathe or to do something for ourselves, something that we are so accustomed to doing, and you will not be able to do it for yourself again. Have you given thought to that? Ahiravan and Mahiravan, they are so powerful and fighting against Lord Hanuman. The voice from the Akash speaks again. May I am Kali Devi. And so Ahiravan and Mahiravan have been blessed by me. I gave them an Ashavad. I gave them a blessing. And they are Panch Jyoti, they are 5 lamps. I gave to them 5 lamps. 1 in the east, 1 in the west, 1 north and 1 south. And there is 1 facing upwards in the northeastern direction. And so I bless them with these 5 lamps, O Lord Hanuman. And only when you can blow those lamps out at one time, then you will be able to destroy Ahiravan and Mahiravan. The task seems impossible. Hanumanji wonders, what will I do? He wonders, what is the way forward? How can I put an end to Ahiravan and Mahiravan? Jai Shri Ram, he chants. And out of the H-E-A-D of Lord Hanuman, H-E-A-D apostrophe S begins to come. out of the one head of Lord Hanuman, heads begin to come. One head in the east, one head in the west, one head north, one head south, and one head facing upwards. The 5 heads of Lord Hanuman. One, the kapi, the monkey-like form. One, the lion. One, the vulture. What is the other one? The horse. And one resembling that of a boar. And having these 5 heads, Jai Shri Ram, Hanumanji blows. And as he blows, Hanumanji blows out the 5 lamps of Ahiravan and Mahiravan. He destroys them, and destroying them, placing Shri Ram and Lakshmana on his shoulder. Hanumanji, this is what he's saying. Listen to what he says to them. Placing them on his shoulder, Hanumanji takes them back to the battlefield, and Ravan is shocked to see them there. If you know, Ravan is shocked to see Ram and Lakshmana back on the battlefield because he thought that that was the end of them. When you know somebody wishes you bad, and when you know somebody don't like you, all you have to do is to pretend you're happy though you're not happy in front of them. All you have to do is pretend that they have not affected you in any way. Pretend. Smile. You know it's a fake smile? You know how to do a fake smile? Smile from ear to ear and look at them. And they ask you, don't even wait for them to ask you how you going. Ask them, how you going? Don't wait for them to come and hug you and kiss you. You go. Kuchi kuchi ku. Hug them up and kiss them and well pinch them. If I really like you, I'll not only hug you, I'll lift you. If I really like you, but I have to really like you, I'll hug you and I'll lift you and I'll squeeze you and I'll pinch you. One day I'm hugging my aunt and kissing her and she said, listen, when you're done with me, I feel like I get licks. I said to her, well, you don't want to know how I am feeling. I feel so tired, I feel like a bus bunks me. She said, you take the number? And I said, no, not physically. I'm just being literal. I feel so tired like a bus bunks me. She said, well, in any event, you must always take the number if anybody bunks you. This evening, Hanumanji takes Sri Ram and Lakshmana and places them back on the battlefield. And now is when the scene is set. Bibhishan will say to Ram exactly how to destroy Ravan. Syavar Ramachandra ki jai.